Clash of Clans Podcast, OG, Episode 1. Welcome back to the Clash of Clans Podcast. I'm your host, Scotty827, and with me is the new, lovely co-host, Tipdawg. How are you doing,
Tipdawg 20. Doing good. Doing good.
Tipdawg 20.
Yeah.
You got a lot of identities.
Yeah, I do. I have so many. Most of them are Star Trek related. But you know where the number came from? Did I ever tell you that?
Where? Probably.
So I don't know if anybody knows where your number came from, Scotty827. Only the OGs know that.
The OGs. and I, by the way, I think that's what we're going to call this new edition of the podcast as I dust some things off here. And we'll kind of explain that going forward. But Clash of Clans Podcast OG, what do you think?
Yeah, I love it. Clash of Clans Podcast
like Teen Mom OG. You know, we just put that little that OG on it since we were really the first, I think.
Yeah, you were the first. Yeah. And there were many to follow. There have been so many Clash of Clans podcasts over the years. I would say, just off the top of my head, I can think of about 20 that there have been.
Really?
So many podcasts. Most of them, even today, like there have been podcasts that have put out 1 or 2 episodes and they're backed by big supporters, you know, like base building companies, and they just just last 1 or 2 episodes, and then there's like, oh yeah, we're out, not doing it anymore.
It's hard.
It is. Well, you have to enjoy it. You have to love it. You have to love who you're talking to. You have to love being a nerd, playing the game. And if you're doing it for any other reason than that, like especially a Clash of Clans podcast, then you might as well not even do it. You know, you have to do it for the love of it.
The raking in the cash.
Oh man, I'm sitting here on my gold bars.
Finish your story about 20.
Oh, so I played basketball in high school and college, and 20 was my basketball number. And Tipdawg comes because my last name starts with Tip. And so the other guys on the court would always call me Tipdawg. Like I'd shoot a 3 and hit it, and they'd be like, nice. Tipdawg, Tip. So it just kind of made its way into Clash of Clans lore.
That's awesome, man. And if for those of you out here listening for maybe the first time, if you don't know who we are here at the Clash of Clans podcast, we were the original Clash of Clans back in the day. And it has been now about, you told me on your podcast, 7 years. The last podcast went out. By the time you're probably listening to this, if you do listen to this, all the old episodes should be up. And we're going to put up all the old episodes, and I believe there were at least 200. There's got to be around 200 of the old episodes, and really it's going to be a retrospective of Clash. So if you think about the old days when we first started podcasting, there was no war. There was no Town Hall 8, I don't think. There were no heroes. The entire game is completely different. And so coming back to the game, leaving the post office, my refuge in the post office, and being invited by Tip and returning to the podcast kind of came about because so much has changed that I think getting the old episodes out for everybody to know how much it has changed and to hear the journey of a bunch of nerds who lived through it and fought hard. Because I look at these new updates coming out of Clash now, and I think about how easy all the youngsters have it these days.
Mm-hmm. You know, the episode that I want to go back and listen to, one of them is whenever the air blower was introduced. You and Boneyard came out with like 8 different names for the air blower, the fancy hair dryer, all of that stuff. I just remember laughing at that episode so much because you were just coming up with name after name after name and making fun of the air blower. So
it still is weird looking to me, for sure.
And it hasn't been updated since like Town Hall 11. It's the exact it's the exact same. It's the exact same air blower. So they need to contact L'Oreal or something like that to come out with a new edition.
Yeah, the hair drying technology has over the years.
They need an AI hair blower.
It'll give you a foot massage.
Yeah, nice. At least the king, as he's on the battlefield. He gets distracted by the hair blower. He walks by and he's like, "Ooh, what is this?"
Times are changing. And so I thought, as we talked about stuff, that Tip could be a really good journeyman. I don't know if that's even the term that I use for this. Really good instructor on my journey. And maybe if you're somebody like me who's coming back to Clash after not playing for a long time, he can help us figure out what the hell's going on. I do have to tell you, though, I have no advice to offer you.
You have plenty of advice, my friend.
I don't think so. I think all my advice is outdated at this point. Although I am really starting to wonder if my old school ways haven't evolved. Everybody's evolved past him so much, like my golem heal, like you mentioned on your podcast, that everything would work again.
It could. I mean, that's the thing about the meta is it's always changing. So people are typically going with whatever the meta attacks are. And old attack styles kind of go out of existence. And so and then base building changes with the meta. So they are built to withstand whatever the new troop is or whatever the new attack style is. So you can definitely go in on some of these bases with older attack styles. I think of the Electron, for example. I'm not sure if you remember that.
Is that?
But that's where you would send in the blimp with an E-drag and then double clone it with loons and just completely take out a portion of the base. I've not seen an Electron in probably, 5 years. I'm sure it's been used, but I'm looking at bases and thinking, wow,
we're bringing it back.
This may be a great place for an Electron, you know?
Let's do it. Bring it back to the podcast. You can lead the charge on the new
a new way to introduce E-drags.
Well, and your attacks are fancy. I will have to say. Like, I look at yours. I was watching you attack the other day, or one of your replays, and I'm looking at it going, is this what I'm supposed to do now? Because I just plan on throwing a bunch of shit at this base.
We need to talk about like what attacks might work, because you just went to Town Hall 13, right?
Yeah, and so if just kind of a brief history on the podcast, if you don't know, the podcast created and was around the House of L, and so returning to the House of L, I was in process of upgrading to level 13 Town Hall, and when I left the game, I had just went to 12. I think I pushed it to 12, and I was an early 12. And so that's another thing. I come back to see this village full of things and new things, and I don't know where to start. And it's been a couple months, and I feel like Town Hall 9 again.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what you thought the equivalent would be.
I remember when I came back in 2020, I was at Town Hall 11, and the max Town Hall at the time was Town Hall 13. And I was actually at max Town Hall 10 at the time. So that was 3 Town Hall levels below. The Gold Pass was not out whenever I left. CWL was not out whenever I left. Friendly Wars had just started, and Friendly Challenges had just started whenever I left. so when I came back, I was really overwhelmed. Magic items. So I was really overwhelmed with magic items whenever I came back.
Yeah.
I didn't know what any of them were for. I didn't know what the gold pass was for. Like, what are all these potions? What are all these things that can make things? I had no clue.
I can't find anything.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think it is a Town Hall 9? Or do you feel like it right now, like a Town Hall 13, when at, like in the old days speaking?
Yeah.
Right? Am I like, because I want to get into some of your videos, because we talked a little bit about it before, you know, about maybe rushing. I looked at your video about and I have to ask you about it.
Yeah. I'm super curious now.
The video about the hero equipment, and the cover of the video is "Do not upgrade these items," and those are the two that I have been. Two of them are
dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I've been just throwing stuff at them and not knowing what to do. And so I talked to Maximus and I said, I got to ask about that. And I think I went maybe in the wrong direction, because I thought when we talked before that you told me one of them, but I don't know.
Did you upgrade the earthquake boots?
Let me see.
It's so funny. So
I don't know what anything is called anymore. No, I didn't. Oh, okay, I did not.
So you're good.
It's only at a level 2. No, but I did the healing tome.
So the healing tome's okay. So the reason that I crossed out the healing tome on the thumbnail was because I needed one. I needed one piece of equipment from each hero to make the thumbnail interesting.
Okay.
And the problem with the healing tome,
I had to go change my page.
The problem with the warden is all of his pieces of equipment are really good for different types of attacks, but most of the people who watch my videos are Town Hall 11 through Town Hall 14, Town Hall 13, and the healing tome typically starts to be good at about Town Hall 14. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't any uses for it below Town Hall 14, but it really shines with root riders at higher Town Hall levels. And typically,
the Dune Worms.
A lot of players will use dragons from Town Hall 11 to Town Hall 14.
I'm loving dragons.
And typically with the dragon, the Rage Gem is going to be so much better.
Oh, I suppose.
Just because it speeds them up. Like, they already have a ton of health. They just need to be sped up a little bit. And so that's the reason. And then I like the Life Gem because it raises the life health of whatever troop that's within the Warden's aura.
Yeah.
And so I recommended the Life Gem and the Rage Gem just because I like Lalo, and with balloons, the Life Gem is great because it practically doubles their health. And then I like the Rage Gem with dragons because it speeds them up. But the healing tome, like, there's nothing wrong with you upgrading that. You're definitely going to use it. I recommended the Life Gem, and of course the Eternal Tome. The Eternal Tome is what makes them invincible for a specific period of time.
I remember you telling me about that one. I did put that in there. And so when I came back to the game, all of these were at, what, 1? Or no, I think the Kings were at like 7 or something, or the base level.
Yes.
I don't know if they just boosted me up to something. I'm not quite
sure. So whenever Supercell implemented it, they gave your heroes the abilities that they already had. So for the King, he had the Barbarian Puppet, which is little barbarians popping out, and the Rage Vial, which is him getting all mad and turning red and going really fast. They gave you those at the level that your King was already at. So if you had a max King already, then they started it at level 15. Well, if you had a level 50 King, then they started that player off at level 8 or something like that. So
that was so close to the top too.
Yeah.
Right before I left, and now it's all. So, okay. So now if you were me, so I had the base and levels, and we talked about them and like the different abilities. Mm-hmm. Here's my problem. Do I just take one of them up all the way, or how do I go from here?
So I would recommend you pick 2 for each hero and just upgrade those 2. And that's really based on your attacking style. So what type of troops you're going to use?
What is bad? I mean, if my attacking styles, do I?
So I would definitely not bother with the earthquake boots on the king.
No
earthquake boots.
No earthquake boots.
Now, whether you upgrade the barbarian puppet or the rage vial or the gauntlet, which I don't know if you got the gauntlet in the Cookie Rumble event or not.
No, I didn't. I was very close.
Then that's fine. Or the vamp stash. So is
that gonna come back to me? Like, am I gonna be able to get that one?
Supercell hasn't said. So if
I would have knew it was that close, I would have. Oh man, bummer. Okay.
But the problem with the giant gauntlet is it pales in comparison as far as strength goes to the rage vial, and it doesn't heal as fast as the vamp stash does. So it's kind of like a wimpy version of the rage vial in the power category, and it's kind of like a wimpy version of the vamp stash in the healing category. But where it is good at is it has splash damage, which if you're sending in your heroes into a compartment to take down a queen, and you have skelly traps that pop, then the giant gauntlet is really good for stuff like that, because you could take down a whole pack of skeletons. Or let's say that a CC pops out and you have a bunch of archers that pop out. He'll kill 10 archers in one swipe because he has splash damage. So for those things, the giant gauntlet is really good. But if you didn't get it, honestly, the vamp stash or the barbarian puppet, like take your pick. If you want more power behind your attacks, then I would upgrade the rage vial and the barbarian puppet. If you're like, I'm probably not going to be doing any fancy hero charges, then I would probably go with the rage vial and the vamp stash on your king.
What's a spray and pray? That's
so
probably rage. No, I'm just kidding.
Let me ask: if you're doing spray and pray, are you sending your king up the middle, or is he going down the side?
Well, I misclick all the time.
Me too. So does everybody listening.
In the troops, there's so much stuff going on, like, to get in there, that I I have a couple different plans going in, and then I just have to rely on adrenaline and some muscle memory, and just go
in there,
frankly, do it. Hope.
Yeah.
I like that. There was an attack at the last war where I did a queen walk, for example, and I got in there, and Max looked at it and he said, "Oh, you were doing a queen walk and you did this." And when I was doing the whole attack, it looked like I knew what I was doing, but it was all an accident. That was no way how I planned that attack to go.
You're secretly a pro player.
So I'm adjusting.
You're secretly a pro player, aren't you? You're just not telling us.
Yeah. I was like, well, look at that. What happened? It looks like I was doing good. So I guess I'm more of a player that is adjusting, like, on the path. And I think I'll come into that a little bit more later, as I'm figuring out these new troops, like what kind of player I am. However, here's the thing. If I've got a level 7, 8, 11, 8, where should I... So my healing tome's at 6. Should I get everything to 9, or should I get one thing to 11, go one thing to 11, or am I supposed to... Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm not sure of when, like, the crossover is. I know, for example, that the healer puppet on the Archer Queen, which I really like.
Yeah, you told me that. I like it.
I think it's at level 8, 2 healers pop out, and then at level 15, 3 healers pop out. So those are kind of like the break points where, okay, I'm working on the healer puppet on my queen to get that to at least level 15. And then, maybe I can start focusing on some of the other abilities, because I want 3 healers to pop out rather than just 2, because that's a huge advantage. I mean, that's 14 troop space extra on the battlefield if I can get that piece of equipment up to that level.
And are they higher?
And they do get higher. They do get higher in level the more that you upgrade them.
So should I take that to... So my healer's at 8, right? Should I do that over like my healing tome, which is at 6?
So
You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
so
Like,
your attacking style is definitely very and there's nothing wrong with this at all. It's more spammy. In fact, I wanted to talk to you something that we didn't get into in the last episode was Ocho Cueco. Have you ever heard of that attack?
no.
So Ocho Cueco, I love it, and it's perfect for Town Hall 13.
Sounds like a fiesta.
It's beautiful. So all you have to do is you have to put 4 quakes down on a more compact portion of the base with walls. That way your Yetis can get in there. And then you put another 4 earthquakes down around the town hall to open up more walls. And then you just place a line of Yetis down. You send in the log launcher and put your heroes in behind it. It triples probably 50% of the time. Like you just have to choose the right side of the base to do that attack on.
Did you say a log roller?
Yeah, the log launcher. Yeah, log roller, log launcher. Oh, that's a new siege machine, isn't it? So the log launcher is a lot like the wall wrecker, except rather than busting,
is how I spend most of my day. What the hell is that thing that just came on by CC?
Yeah, so rather than breaking through the walls, it goes a lot slower than the wall wrecker, and logs come out of it, and it breaks walls down. It rolls through defenses. It's super powerful, but the way that Supercell balanced it is it loses its health over time. Now, there is one trick that you can use to get it to last longer, and that's by using the new Warden's Apprentice, which I think you get at Town Hall 13.
I have to ask you about that too, because I got him, and he's going, but I have no idea what he does. I haven't used him.
So he's just a mini warden in that he gives a life boost to any troops that are within his aura, and he works on the log roller, on the log launcher, so it boosts its health so that way the log launcher lasts longer through the attack. I use it all the time with my Root Rider attacks at Town Hall 16 because it boosts the life of the Root Rider attacks. Now, the benefit of the life boost with the Apprentice Warden versus the life boost of the regular Warden is the regular Warden life boost is capped. I think it's the max is 746. Like it caps out at that level, and it will not increase the life of troops past that. But with the Warden's Apprentice, there's no cap on it. So it will increase the health of whatever troops are within its aura by whatever percentage is on it. So if it's 20% and it's a 1,000 HP troop, then that troop now has 1,200 HP rather than having 1,000 HP, as long as it's within the aura of that Warden's Apprentice.
So that kind of makes me dizzy a little bit, but
it's a lot to think about. It is.
But it is what excites me a little bit about coming back in is, thinking about like the abilities on those heroes, and then like the pets that I don't have or I really don't know much about at all, is how much the attacks probably can be customized, and how much like strategy you could really start to work in, and you can almost see too where Supercell's going with it. Like where you could specialize even more, different variety of attacks, different spells. Kind of reminds me in some ways of like these, mage paths or whatever you call them, trees, where you could really innovate and do some really cool things.
So I'm really, really excited about the hero equipment. So much so that especially the Warden, like we've talked about the Barbarian King, and honestly, between all the Barbarian King's equipment, there's not a lot of difference. There's not a lot of variety. I mean, you can get a little more power or you can get a little more healing. Like if you want power, then put the Rage Vial and the Barbarian Puppet on the King. If you want healing, put the Rage Vial and the Vamp Stash on the King. Or if you want ultimate healing.
What a name. Vamp stash.
Yeah, I love it. The Vamp stash. Or if you want like ultimate healing, put the Vamp stash and Giant Gauntlet on the king. Like you're gonna get ultimate healing.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not that much different. But with the queen and the warden, there are some major differences, especially the warden. There are some major differences in equipment ability that is so exciting. Like it's so exciting because I look at the attack and I think, oh, this attack will work because I have the healing tome ability on the warden. When if I didn't have that, this attack might not work. Or because I have the life gem, or because I have the rage gem, this attack might work. So I have to make sure before I go into the attack. Before it was just, hey, is your grand warden on ground or air? You know, that was it. Well, now you have to look and say, okay, which piece of equipment do I have on which of my heroes? Because it can make a difference in the attack. That is crazy exciting, and it just tickles my brain all over.
Yeah, and then they can come out, next year or next month with a different change up, or you could if you could trigger your abilities at different times or something, and then that changes things, the complexity a little bit more, and I started to wonder, is this where they're going to go with the vision stuff? You could make it more like a different type of game to add things on, but it just seems like it's got a lot more layers to it, and so I don't look at it like the old days where, I don't know, you kind of had to have I don't know how to describe, you really had to know very particulars about the meta attacks, and I know you have to do that now, I'm sure, but just the fact that there's variation, I mean, it seems pretty cool to me. You're going to see a lot of different attacks.
Yeah, I definitely think that Supercell is going down the path of an RPG, 100%. Yes. Now, granted, they're always going to be a world building game. They're always going to be, MMO where you have a ton of people building villages, fighting each other. They're never going to be first person, like a first person shooter. But they're definitely customizing the heroes, and they're focusing everything on them because that's the path going forward.
Think about this: if this was around your tabletop, and you could just grab the troops and drop them
in. This is a tabletop that's getting this. So it's becoming more like Magic the Gathering than chess.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So
that's a great comparison.
It used to be chess when, Town Hall 9 and Town Hall 10. And granted, there's lots of complexities with chess. But now it's Magic the Gathering, and you can have all of these new cards and new abilities. And sure, old cards work, but there are so many more complexities that you can have in strategy with all of this new stuff that's being introduced, and it's only getting better. So I don't know if you knew, but they're introducing 1 and possibly 2 new pieces of hero equipment very soon.
Oh, I did not know that. So that'll be kind of exciting to see.
Yeah, so they're going to introduce the frozen arrow on the queen. And that is, as it sounds, it's going to shoot defenses and slow them down, freeze them, slow them down. And then I actually just put out a YouTube short because in one of their videos on the Azure Dragon, they had the warden shooting a fireball out of his person, landing on the monolith and completely wiping it out. So basically a fireball ability with the warden.
I got to get my warden up too. Now that well, you don't think so, right? You don't think the heroes are where it's at, if I'm correct.
What do you mean by that?
Well, should I be prioritizing my hero upgrades?
Yes, 100%. So Supercell is moving away from heroes being all important, and they're moving towards hero equipment being all important. And That's for two reasons. One of them is for variety. Like obviously a game is more exciting, the more options, the more viable options that you have. I mean, options on their own are boring, right? If the king had a peanut cracker, a nutcracker as his ability, be like, well, who the crap is going to use?
Supercell's listening.
Who the crap is going to use I mean, whatever, if he had I don't know, a snow ability where he threw snow on incoming troops, like nobody would care. Well,
the nutcracker, like everybody started dancing, like the clan castle troops or something just like froze and started dancing.
But viable pieces of equipment, and the more options that you have, the more exciting it is. And then secondly, the more pieces of viable equipment that you have, the more money that people want to spend to max out those pieces of equipment. So this is a smart business move on their part as well.
Yeah, and it does seem to me like there are more things to do that if you're not interested in one part of it, like I'm really not that big of a fan of the builder base, but I am kind of excited about the capital.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the capital? No, I'm curious. What are your thoughts on the capital?
Well, after Tipdawg, I spent some time at the bar with Tipdawg. We went to the House of L, relaxed, and then moved to the House of L, which had been pretty quiet. And I'd been doing those raid weekends with you. And I thought they were pretty cool. I couldn't figure out how to do them at first, or I was like, what the heck is going on with this? And I liked it. And then when we came back to the House of L, it was a level 1.
Yep.
And I love the pillars at the opening thing of the clan whatever it is on the Capitol Peak. And there's those pillars, and then you see the House of L logo. And I can just hear footsteps like echoing, like through the House of L. And there it is, level 1 clan.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. And then I got really excited because I didn't know if I would come back and there would be, a fully developed capital. But it's so cool to be able to see it from the very beginning. But I have no idea about. Well, I learned a little bit about like the rebuild stuff this weekend, but the first thing for me was what to prioritize, and like I realized I had actually no clue about any strategy with it. Like, are people upgrading the Capitol Hall or the District Hall or whatever it's called, and then getting more places? I'm not sure what like you know what I'm talking about? Like there's that and a barbarian. I guess I'm not really sure how the whole thing works fully, but
yes,
I like it.
So the clan capital is a little more complicated in that it doesn't work the same as upgrading in the main village, which is frustrating when you have a clan that's been around for as long as House of L, and they haven't done clan capital at all, which is the reason why it's level 1. And you have experienced players such as yourself who come in and you've done a lot of work on your base, and you come into the clan and it's a clan capital level 1 like that. From that perspective, it kind of sucks. But from the other perspective, they based everything on. So how in the main village the limiting factor is time. So if you want to upgrade your town hall, it's going to take 10 days for you to get from town hall 12 to town hall 13 or whatever it is, right? Now you can speed that up by using a book of building, or you can use gems to gem it finished. Well, in the clan capital, it's not like that. There's no timers on the clan capital. It's just you get elixir, clan capital elixir, and you put that in certain buildings in order to upgrade those buildings. But the frustrating thing is you can't get clan capital elixir except on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's the only time that you can get the elixir needed in order to upgrade things in the clan capital. And on top of that, you're limited to 5 five attacks where if you 3-star the base that you're attacking, then you get a bonus attack. So you only get 6 attacks in order to gain this very valuable builder elixir, a clan capital elixir, in order to put into your buildings.
Okay.
So from that perspective, it's not that exciting. It's like, woohoo, I took a cannon from having 0 elixir to having 12,000 elixir, and I still need another 12,000 elixir before I even upgrade it.
Yeah.
Like,
because the cost of some of them, I was like, ooh. But do you... So continue on. I'm sorry. I should... What do you think about it, though? Like, overall, are you like it? Yay, nay?
so I have mixed feelings about it. At the highest level, so where my main is, the clan capital is almost max. And at the highest levels, attacking is honestly pretty boring. So
Really?
They introduced the super miner, I don't know, 6 months ago. And basically all you have to do is throw your super miners down, force close the app, log back in, do your second attack, throw your super miners down, force close the app, open it again,
Really?
and it's 3-starred. Like, that's literally all you have to do at the highest levels. But in Quark's Bar, my clan capital is almost level 6. And in Quark's Bar, you have to use strategy in order to attack. Like, I use giants and wizards, super wizards, in those attacks. And like, you really have to look at the base, look at the defense pathing, look at the building pathing. Okay, I'm going to take this portion of the base out with this, portion of the attack and this portion of the base.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly really fun at level 5, level 6. I liked it
because I did it in Quark's Bar, and then over in El Relaxed, and you could see that, like, oh man, if somebody's really smart, you could do this. Or I kept thinking, like, is there somebody that just works on the layouts, like all these different possibilities? And I wish there were like 100 attacks you could do on those things.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I don't know, maybe it's just something so different from what I'm used to, that I just want to explore it a little bit more.
Yeah. And it would be interesting if they opened it up to where you could do clan capital raids all the time. And I don't know why they haven't opened it up. Other than the only thing I can think of is they didn't want clans to max out their clan capital too quickly. But now that a lot of clans that have been around for a long time, I mean, the clan capital has been around for a year and a half. So most clans now are either max or close to it. So why not give some of these lower clans in the clan capital a chance to catch up by opening it up to where you can literally have clan capital raids every day of the week if you want, just press the co-leader or has to press the co-leader or leader has to press the attack button. It finds a new clan and boom, you have it on a Monday night or a Wednesday night and you're able to do your attacks. And then you're able to put more builder elixir into the building so that you can upgrade more quickly. And that would be perfect for House of L because House of L is so low at this point. It's almost boring from that perspective because I had to use barbs and archers to do my attacks.
We didn't have spells.
No spells. Yes. No spells, no heal spell, no rage spell, no lightning, nothing.
So is that what we have to get first on? I don't know. Because so we had the barracks going. Mm-hmm. So we were getting other things after the start, I think. But do you upgrade Capital Peak first or do you go to the next thing?
So the way that it works is you have to upgrade a certain number of buildings before you can upgrade the Capital Peak. And honestly, it's an absurd number of buildings. It's like 111 buildings have to be upgraded before you can go to the next clan capital level.
So there's going to be just a ton.
Yeah. It's
going to take forever.
It's a grind. And clan capital is made for large clans. So let's be clear. Supercell wanted this to be a clan-wide event. They wanted lots of players to get together to build this grandiose clan capital. And we have right now, and I know you've talked about some of the OGs are going to come back, but right now we have 7 accounts that can build the clan. It's going to take us a long time.
It's a couple weeks. I mean, that's just a couple weeks, isn't it?
That's a long. It's probably a long time, months and months in order for us to get. So my clan capital, for example, the level that I'm at, that's probably 8 months of progress with me doing 5 or 6 attacks every weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm doing walls because there's tons of loot. I've been kind of with the upgrades, I guess, panic upgrading. And there's so many things to do, and looking around thinking, oh, I need a builder. I need to do this. But I'm not going to have something for 3 days. And then I hit upgrade and I realized I forgot to spend gold or whatnot. I'm TH13, brand new. Spell Factory's going. I have having barracks. Workshop is going up. Anything that you would advise? Oh, yeah. My royal champion. I got her. And then put her down. Is it a he or she?
It's a she.
She. So I got her. I put her down. And this was because you were kind of saying I should go up on your podcast. You were telling me it's okay to rush. Thank you for enabling me. And as soon as I got her, I put her down, and she is at level 8. So this is in like 2 weeks, right? And she will not be awake. I've never used her in battle. I have everything ready, waiting for her to go. I won't even raid with her once between the upgrades because I don't want to know. I don't want to experience.
You're a virgin when it comes to the RC.
Yeah,
you gotta pop your cherry.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait to pop that cherry because if I don't know what she's like, then I don't know what I'm missing.
Yeah, I mean that's a good perspective.
And the highest level is what, 25?
So 25 at Town Hall 13. Yeah.
So it's gonna be like months before I can use.
It's gonna be, it's gonna be a long time.
And these new clashers, right? Probably that started clashing in the last few years, and they probably complain about like hero upgrade times and stuff. But wow, I look at it and it goes, oh, it's only 4 days and 12 hours.
Yeah.
We used to dream about an upgrade timer like that back in the old days.
So let me explode your brain a little bit.
Okay.
Total upgrade time for all 4 heroes is over 4 years.
And the way I did it was probably 8 years worth of time.
Yeah. Because it used to be, 14 days to upgrade one level?
Yeah, I think at first it was 2 weeks. And I think it was I just remember thinking, is it ever going to be worth doing? Like, if I want to get the king to max, and I think max at first was like, what, 10 or 5 or something. It just was not worth it. And then every time an upgrade came out, I just stayed super behind. And then coming back in and seeing those timers, since I came back right around Christmas time, I've probably put 5 levels on my queen, 5 levels on all the heroes. And I feel a little cheated in some ways.
Yeah, I get it.
Of the hell but that is what this podcast is about, is to explain the hell that some of us endured to throw and spam those troops against other bases in the early days of Clash. From like the introduction of like the Hog Rider. Oh yeah, because around when that came out. Before war, long before war. And so I think with the Clash Clans podcast, OG, coming back for some episodes to explore some of that, it's a really cool chance to think about what was before, how it's changed, and really where it's going. And if you're like me out there and you're listening and you are not a super player, if you pray, if you pray like I do when I throw my troops at it.
What God do you pray to?
Well, which is, I just now go, it's not worth my self-esteem. I think, yep. And I still get mildly embarrassed, but because there's only been a few people in the clan, I realize probably not very many people are going to look at it.
Yeah.
I think my first attack back in House of L just was really bad. And I came back and I said, yep, still got it.
And I don't care. I don't give a flip.
Yeah.
Like I just have fun with it,
And that's fun. That's the fun part, being back and knowing you and you knowing me and L and all that we're kind of at the point where we just want to have fun and want to have the clan be fun, because there's always drama going on in those online communities and amongst podcasters. And I think sometimes not amongst podcasters, but in the podcasting, probably in YouTube and those type of things. And it has always been a great place for community. And stepping away, the thing that I missed most on my journey and my journey back was all the connections that I made, and all the time, thinking of like the House of L and the time spent with everybody there and how much fun we all had. And so hopefully we can find some of that again and doing some of these podcasts and bringing to you all a reminder of the past with the old episodes that will be posted, if they're not already, by popular demand for the fans in the stands.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm super excited.
So yeah, we will be bringing you a few episodes in the next couple weeks. Tip, before we get wrapping up here, what else do we need to talk about? Is there any, because my list just went out the door. We started talking about stuff. What haven't we talked about? What do we need to talk about?
Man, there's so much. There's so much.
Tell me where to go next this week, because the last time I talked to you, you did maybe even say that I should rush up to TH14.
So, I mean, that's totally your decision. But so if a player comes in, let's say that they're an OG, they've been out for a super long time. Funny enough, I'm actually putting out a video on Tuesday that kind of addresses this exactly. But the rules are the same as they were back then. Upgrade your offense. Focus 100% of your time on your elixir upgrades. So your spell factories, your lab, upgrading your troops in your lab, upgrading your barracks, upgrading your army camps, upgrading your CC, which is now an elixir upgrade. Not sure if you know that.
Yep. Got it.
So do your elixir upgrades and then upgrade your heroes. Now, Supercell has made it a lot more fun to play with your heroes with the hero potion and the power potion change.
I love playing with my heroes.
Your heroes love playing with you.
That's excellent.
So focus on, if you come back in, upgrade, as high as you want. If you want to go to 14, go to 14 and just focus on elixir upgrades and hero upgrades.
I don't know what I want anymore. There's so many buttons. And here's one thing I got to ask about. Is there any way to turn up the writing?
Yeah. for us old players.
Well, it sure just makes me feel old, but then I look at it and I remember that I'm only 23 years old. And B, that stuff did get smaller. It has to. It doesn't even look like a chat.
So I know the map got smaller because they made it bigger
on the iPhone. It's crazy.
Yeah, they made the map bigger, I think in 2017. So to cram everything in. Now there are no plans to make it even bigger. Like they've come out to say they're not making the map bigger, so it's not going to get smaller. But Unfortunately,
But the writing on the side, because I can't see anything. I'm trying to do a troop donation.
They have these little things at like Walgreens and CVS called spectacles.
You know what? I'm going to have to get some of that, because you put in your contact. I got my contacts in that I can't see far away, or that make me see like super far away, and then I look down and I can't see anything on the cell phone. So
yep.
I think I'll be doing most of my war attacks on the iPad for sure. It's more of a, I think of war attacks as really more of like stand-up comedy. Something for people to enjoy watching. But no real, it's not building a house or anything like that. So
yeah, but I would say focus on elixir upgrades, focus on DE upgrades, dark elixir upgrades, which are your heroes. And just understand it's going to take a long time, unless you're willing to spend gems. It's going to take a long time to get it up.
Is there a? Well, no. No. Is there like a place for TH13? Is it? I thought it was 13 last time I was talking to you. It was 12. Is there a place like in war for that, or is it? Because in the past, like TH10 was kind of where it was. Okay, that's where or TH9 was a really war heavy at first. Like kind of standard. Is there a place for that, or are people really? Your war specialties are 14, 15, and 16.
Yeah, so Supercells made sure, and that is one change that they've made since the OG days. Because in the OG days, the only Town Hall that you could triple at was Town Hall 9. That's the reason Town Hall 9 was so popular. Like, you could not triple at Town Hall 10 unless you modded.
Town Hall 9 for life.
Town Hall 9 life.
Probably still have tattoos about that. Tramp stamps,
But Supercells made sure that the top of the game, the best strategy is at the top Town Hall, which is Town Hall 16 right now. So, but I mean, that doesn't mean that the lower Town Halls are not fun. I love playing with my, honestly, I don't love playing with my Town Hall 11 account really anymore, because I can literally triple pretty much any base with witches, and that's just boring. Oh. But starting at Town Hall 12, the strategies really start to blossom, and then they just blossom even further with Town Hall 13, and then more with 14. And it gets harder too, the higher that you go in Town Hall levels.
Oh, here's one other thing I have to ask you about too. Well, I'm thinking of it right now. How do you think a minor invisibility spell heal spam would do?
Minor invisibility. You would have problems placing the invisibility spells, because when you place the invisibility spells down, if you cover up the building by accident that the miners are hitting, they'll move on to the next building.
They will? So they can't see it either?
Correct.
Oh.
Well,
that explains it.
But miners are a super powerful attack strategy specifically for Town Hall 13. Also Town Hall 14, interestingly enough, but specifically for Town Hall 13, hybrid, which is miners and hogs, were the primo attack at Town Hall 13. It still is. On my Town Hall 13, I still use hybrid hogs and miners. I would say for 50% of my attacks. I do hybrid for 50% of my attacks, and Lalo for the other 50% at Town Hall 13.
I've been like mastering my level 2 invisibility spell. Yeah. And you're telling me that they can't see it either?
Yeah, no, your troops, if you invis something, your troops can't see it either. Now, the invis spell is good for a blizzard. But we can get in that in a future episode. We'll talk about a blizzard in the next episode.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a dirty joke. Troop attack.
Just don't eat the yellow snow.
Yeah, don't eat the yellow snow. Yeah, I'm really excited. I don't know what the tornado spell is, or the recall, which I'm going to be getting soon.
Yep.
And I'm going to be leveling it up, because that making your troops come back or like run away.
I wouldn't mess with it. Work on the other stuff first.
Well, what do you think about the invisibility?
Invisibility is really good for a blizzard or a search blimp. But that's about it.
That's from this game?
Yes. That's from Clash of Clans, yeah.
You're gonna have to catch me up.
We definitely have content for future episodes.
Yes, we do. Wow, I have more questions than I do have. Well, do you want to do any shout outs?
Shout out my wife for being okay with me coming out to the garage and setting up all my equipment and talking to you for an hour.
Big shout out.
Yeah, and shout out.
We thank you.
Shout out to my son, Eli, because he's the one who got me back in the game. He started playing Clash of Clans and he was like, Dad, I want to get, to the highest town hall as quickly as possible. Like, oh, here, let me show you, son. And it pulled me back in.
Yeah. Is he still going?
No, he quit. He played it for a couple weeks and he was done with it.
Maybe one day he will follow in his father's footsteps.
Tipdawg 21.
Tipdawg 21, yeah. 20, or you could just do 20 and then put in parentheses 2.
20.2?
Oh, 20.2, that would work too. They'll probably start doing that on basketball jerseys one of these
days.
I'd like to shout out the old gang and House of Al Relaxed and everybody that's been awesome coming back and seeing DNX merging, and look forward to catching up with others. And this is weird, Tip, because as I said that, I looked down at what's in the WBSMT radio studio that I see right in front of me, but a TV that says Hitachi. And I want to do a big shout out to Hitachi.
Yeah. That's my bud.
We are looking for you to do an episode.
I hope he finds. I really do hope he finds us. I hope he does.
This is our goal. We're putting out an APB for Hitachi from the House of L. And in fact, one of his accounts is named House of L.
Yeah, exactly.
And I see he's in. So as we revisit some of the old days of Clash, maybe what we'll do too is read through some of the old update notes.
Yeah, that would be interesting to talk about.
I have my podcast notes from the update days and the things we'd be super pumped about. And it'd be funny to see how exciting that actually is these days and how it's pumped up. And we got to check on that, the upgrade timer. Because I know it was 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe it was 10 days after that or something like that. But that's awesome. Other shout outs for you.
I'm good. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. I had fun.
All right. Yeah. And we'll be back next time with another episode. Keep it clashy, everybody. Skilly beep 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 skilly beep.